Warmly welcoming you to How Does She Do It, the podcast, with me, your host, Jo Ferroni. Join me on my journey as I explore finding a gentle balance in both business and life, because being kind to ourselves is our superpower. Oh my goodness, it is happening. It's actually happening. I've had this dream for years, and it has taken quite some time for me to actually brave doing it, reaching out to find someone to help me do it. And here I am. Thank you so much for joining me to listen to my first ever podcast episode. This is massive for me, and I can't wait to go on a journey with you and to bring you on my journey with me as the episodes unfold and progress. And it's just really, really exciting. So my name is Jo Ferroni and I run How Does She Do It? How does she do it? She doesn't do it all. She really, really doesn't. I am absolutely passionate about spreading the word that despite us as women being told that we can do all the things these days, I think we've got to be so careful, so careful to believe that we can do anything we want to do, but actually we can't necessarily do everything, not unless we want to be hit with burnout, overwhelm, illness, and difficulty. We're not robots, we're human beings. And I have got so much that I want to share with you over the coming episodes. I want to bring people in so they can share their stories with you. I want to bring you on my journey because I'm in a place right now where I am pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Just getting to the mic and recording this today has been a journey in itself. It is something that I felt I could do. I got to the point in my life where I feel I could do it really, really well. And finding that belief was a massive, massive deal for me. Then getting in touch with someone about the whys and wherefores and how I actually went about producing a podcast was another huge step for me. But I have been procrastinating like you would not believe. You really, really wouldn't believe. I thought I was a recovered perfectionist. It would appear I am still in recovery. And I am very, very certain that perfectionism is something that will resonate with at least a few of you listening. And I think we've got to talk about it. I think we're living in a time where we're surrounded by perceived perfection. And I know there are so many people out there getting it all right and doing all the things, and they're absolutely amazing. And I absolutely congratulate them. I celebrate them, and I'm so happy for them. But I also believe that there are so many of us that aren't in the position where we feel we've done all the things. We're exactly where we want to be. You know, we might be struggling with all sorts of parts of our lives, and the beauty of doing the work that I do at How Does She Do It is that I get to hear about the real you, not just in your business, but I always work with a holistic approach. And I believe that if you run a business, but businesses come from within you, that is from your heart, and therefore it is intrinsically a part of you. So we can't even begin to talk about growing your business before we actually look at you as a person, where you're at in your life, you know, what struggles you're facing, what things you've overcome, what you're worried about, or what challenges you're facing right now. And I just think it is so valuable for us to share openly, share honestly, with true authenticity and vulnerability. And actually, that makes me a little bit emotional because we're going through a pandemic right now. And I'm going to tell you more about How Does She Do It and how I work and everything to do with the community and the consultancy business as we progress. I don't feel today is the day to share everything about me. But what I will say is that during this pandemic, a big part of my life has changed in that I am not in a room with people multiple times a month to share and to speak with and to support and to hopefully inspire as well. And it is really very difficult being disconnected from you all. And funnily enough, I probably felt more nervous about hitting record on this very first podcast episode today than I did the night before my first event 5 years ago. I was, hosting an event. It felt like a really big deal for me. I didn't think I could get any more nervous than that. But actually, I think the beauty of that situation was that I had people signed up to come to that event at a certain time. Whereas with the podcast, it was up to me to motivate myself to be confident enough to make it work, to sit down and hit record and be brave enough to share my words with you. So this is a big deal for me, and I'm so glad that I'm doing it at last. I have told myself again and again in the last few days that perfection is not what we need right now. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. And the funny thing is that I'm great at inspiring my clients and my community with just that guidance. But sometimes we're not so good at taking it ourselves. So I must admit, I feel I am sharing this journey with you because I want you to see what unfinished looks like, what work in progress looks like, because frankly, we are always a work in progress. We're never done until we're done, until our days come to an end on this earth. And I feel that we need to be supporting and encouraging each other exactly where we are right now, because actually now is the most important. This is the only time we can do anything in the absolute now. So I really can't wait to be sharing with you as I move along my journey, real life, hopefully inspiration, hopefully ideas and guidance. And I really do hope that many of the things that I share on future podcast episodes will be resonating with you and might make you even question something. Maybe you've been really hard on yourself about something, and then you hear something during an episode that actually maybe almost allows you allow it to give you permission to be content and happy where you are right now. So today, to begin with, I thought it was really important to kind of take it all the way back to the beginning, and what I feel is so important for us to be aware of and take our time to work on, actually, and that is ourselves. Because if we're not in a great space, headspace or heart space or mind space, let's be honest, then how can we put our best into our businesses and progressing them? I think it's so interesting that many of us are quick to try and succeed in our businesses, in our professional lives, and almost put self-care to, well, I just don't even think it is often on the to-do list even. So I was going to say we put ourselves to the bottom of the list, but sometimes I don't. I think we've fallen off the list, if I'm honest. And I have recently been running some self-care workshops where I have been not bringing tons and tons of new stuff to people, because like I said in the events, it's not rocket science, but almost just reminding women that we are worth spending time on. We are worth treating and nourishing. And the wonderful thing is, not only does it feel great to look after ourselves and makes us feel better and healthier and happier, but it creates such a ripple effect out, not only to our businesses, but to those around us as well, from our partners to our families, to our children if we're parents, to our friends, to our work colleagues. It really never stops, actually, that ripple. And I find that absolutely magical. And so today I would love just to share a few things with you on self-care that I would love for you to consider going away and having a little think about, and maybe even introducing one or two things into your life. So first of all, I think it's really important to understand that self-care does not need to be an expensive thing. Yes, taking trips to the spa and having our nails done professionally is a wonderful and luxurious thing to do. And if that's something that you do regularly, I absolutely applaud that. That's fabulous. But not everyone's in a position to spend money. And the great thing is that whether you have got money or whether you haven't got money to invest in yourself at this time, that actually doesn't matter at all. Self-care can still take place. So I think it's really valuable to know that even the tiniest thing can be a step in the right direction towards ourselves. And in saying that, I would just love to share a couple of things that you might like to consider trying out in your daily routine. So I think it's really a great place to start is in the morning, because actually we can start the day with a blank slate, but maybe we don't. Maybe we've woken up with that knot in our stomach or that sense of dread or overwhelm based on whatever's going on in our life right now. But with a little bit of self-care, we can at least try and alleviate that a little bit. So in the morning, first thing when you wake up, just put a smile on your face and it will feel silly. You will feel slightly ridiculous, but actually your brain will sense that good things are happening. Okay, so just the action of lifting the corners of your mouth up and smiling can do you good. And tell yourself, today's going to be a great day. I've even got a little song that I sing to myself, sometimes in the shower, if I need to turn my mind around, if things are feeling a little bit much at the time. And also I will sing it to my boys. I'm sure they find it more annoying than inspiring, but hey, it's something I do. I'm going to sing it to you in case it's something that might be something you can use in the mornings. I didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm just going to do it. So it goes. I'm gonna have a great day. I'm gonna have a great day. I'm gonna have a great day. Praise the Lord, it's a happy day. There you go. That's my little song that I sometimes sing in the morning. And if you're musical at all and you liked that, all you need to do to make it feel even more powerful is get a little bit louder and take it up a tone every, do a key change basically. Take it to the key change, and it is incredibly elevating and uplifting. And like I said, you can almost kind of challenge your brain that things are okay, things are good, and that can set you off on a really good path. Now, it's winter here right now, and I don't know how the weather is with you, but in the UK right now, we have dark mornings. They are starting to get a little bit lighter. We're noticing the change, which is wonderful and really hopeful. But I believe that there are things we can do when the mornings are dark and they're dull and the weather isn't so good and we feel a little bit, And a simple ritual that I started a few years ago now was to light a candle on a darkened morning. That candle can represent all sorts of things for all sorts of people. And for me, the candle represents a little bit of hope, a little bit of light in my life. And it can be quite mesmerizing to sit and drink your morning tea or coffee and just gaze at the candle. For those of you that are creative and artistic, I'm sure that to observe and to maybe sketch a candle or a flame can be a really therapeutic thing to do. They're mystifying, they're beautiful, and it can just set a tone of calm in the morning, and it works for me. And the lovely thing is, it's something that I guess just sets the tone for the day. So it actually works for my family as well. It sets a calm and peaceful environment to start our day. Being in a pandemic right now, we are all in the same space a lot of the time, my family and I. And so to have little rituals that make it feel a little bit different or a little bit uplifted is really, really beneficial. Now, another thing that's really simple to do, but can make a real difference, is to just think about what you're grateful for. Now, gratitude is a massive deal to me, and I probably started a gratitude practice officially about 6 years ago now. Every morning I wake up and write what I'm grateful for. And the wonderful thing is that it is beautiful to do on a day when you feel alive and positive and the sun is shining and the birds are singing, but it is equally as uplifting to do on a morning when you just don't even want to start your day. It might be dark, it might be miserable, you might be feeling that life is just all getting a little bit too much, but there is always something to be thankful for. And to write it down can really help to elevate your mood and lift your heart a little bit as well. So I challenge you, is there something that you can write down right now? Just one thing that you're grateful for. I really hope that it was easy to think of one thing. Another thing that I really feel is great for self-care, moving on into the day. Say you're having a day where you've got lots of things on and you've got commitments and your schedule's quite packed and you don't really feel there's going to be a lot of chance to breathe and to take some downtime, because I believe that a lot of people are very jam-packed in their schedules these days in this modern world. There isn't a lot of time for us to, say, take an hour here or there throughout our day. I know I'm being realistic here. To listen to some music is hugely beneficial. Now, this is something that was one of the very popular things that I talked about at my workshop recently. A lot of people really grasped onto this music idea. Now, I've got a few things that I would love to share, depending on how much time you have to apply to this exercise. So if you have no time at all, but you need a boost throughout the day, at a point throughout the day, then just put on a piece of music that you can move to, that you can dance to, or that might take you back to a really happy time in your life. For some reason, Whitney Houston tracks from the 80s just get me moving. It's almost like I go back to the young and carefree soul that I was back then. And I really don't have a care in the world. I will just dance it out, sing along at the top of my voice, and really, really feel so much better after it. I mean, how long does a song last? 3 to 5 minutes? So no one can not have time for that. Even if you're literally meetings are back to back and you're in the car all day, just put some music on. It really can lift your spirits, lift your mood, and how wonderful if it brings some happy memories back to you as well with it. For those of you that have got a little bit more time to put to this, I urge you to take some time to put together a playlist of your favourite tracks. Oh my goodness, this was life-changing for me. I did it about 2 years ago. I was having a late night call with my husband, who was away in Nashville, Tennessee, on business. And he was telling me about the bars he'd been to where he was listening to live music, so many singer-songwriters, so much variety of music, so much aliveness. And, he said that the audiences were just absolutely captivated by the music. Everyone was in their element in these bars, listening to all of this new music and sharing in that experience. And I was so glad that he was having a brilliant business trip. But I was sat at home thinking, oh, I wish I was there. Live music? Yes, please. But anyway, I wasn't there, and it was very late one night because of the time difference. And it was at that moment that I thought, well, hang on a minute. I love music. Why am I not listening to music more than I am right now? So I started a playlist, and I called it my top 50 tracks of all time. And I did think, where do I start? How's this going to go? Can I even think of 50? And I was surprised, shall we say, that once you put one song in your head, that will lead to another song. That will then take you to a place in time where you remember the friends you were with, the places you were going, the holiday you went on, and off you go down this trip, down memory lane. And it's like turning on a tap. To begin with, you think, oh, I'm not sure I can find 50. And currently, my playlist of my top 50 tracks stands at about 250 tracks, because there's so much amazing music that lights me up that I couldn't limit it to 50. And I absolutely adored doing that. And actually, I said that this was a task you could do if you had a bit more time. It doesn't all have to be done in one go. So even if every time you hear a track you like, you then add it to your playlist. So it doesn't need to be time consuming. But I promise you that when you have got, even if you've got just 10 tracks on a playlist, pop it on your phone, pop your earbuds in, and take yourself for a walk near where you live. You don't have to go anywhere perfect or different or beautiful or stunning. Just pop your earbuds in, press shuffle on that playlist and walk it out. Or, as I often end up doing, strut it out, because you just are taken back to a time where you listen to this track loads and it just lights you up inside. So music is a really, really beautiful tool for self-care. I also, I'm not going to go through everything from the self-care workshop, but I would just like to add here about the idea of an evening routine, because I think that to bookend our day in a good way, in a mindful way, in a kind way to ourselves can really be such a beautiful gift, actually. And so I'm just going to share a couple of tips for evening routine. There are many, and we're all different. So we've all got different things that would speak to us, but I'm just going to share a couple to hopefully give you something to work towards. So the first one is to be very mindful of your screen usage. And I'm not saying this as a perfect saint who never goes near a screen in the evenings, because I'm human. As I said earlier, I'm not a robot, I'm human. In an ideal world, I would not be on my phone as much as I am. But what we can do is just work towards getting a little bit better and a little bit kinder to ourselves. So if you can, do try and step away from your phone and devices, and actually even screens if you can, at least an hour, even better, an hour and a half before you go to bed. It's amazing how we don't realise quite what a noise our devices bring into our lives, bring into our minds. And I don't mean actual noise. I don't just mean the phone ringing or pinging like they do, but I mean all of the messaging, all of the information, all of the demands on you, even all the wonderful messages that you're sent by your friends. It's still a lot of noise for your mind to be taking in. And so to be kind to yourself, if you can just switch off from that at a set time in the evening and know that, the phone will wait. It will wait. And you need to recharge, just like your phone needs recharging multiple times a day, I'm sure. So step away from your phone if you can. But a bit like anything, if you're trying to cut something out of your life, I think you have to be very, very aware that it's a good idea to replace that thing with something. It's a bit like saying to someone, who wants to lose weight, or just stop eating the things. Well, that's not very helpful. You need a plan of action, really. It's not just about swiping something out of your life. It's actually about then giving yourself something back in replacement of that thing. So it's about finding what works for you. Some people absolutely love and often don't have time these days to sit down and curl up and read a book. Now, I know that's not for everyone. Someone might decide that they need to get on the phone and contact a great friend or a relative who, although they've kept up to date with all of their comings and goings on social media, they haven't actually spoken to that person in months. You might like to grab a magazine or grab some sketching pencils, or there are so many things you can do. And yes, if I were more organised, I would have written a lovely long list for you all, but just sit in a little bit of quiet on your own at one point and think, if I had the time, what would I love to do? What would nourish my soul right now? So think about what you would really enjoy doing and then try it out. Maybe at first, just try it out once a week. I'm going to switch my phone off an hour or an hour and a half before bedtime, and I'm going to do something that I've got on my list that I will really enjoy. Because then you're distracting yourself as well. You're not feeling so much that pull back to your phone. Another thing that I shared in the workshop was to almost start winding down a bit sooner than you normally would. So go and remove your makeup and brush your teeth and get into something cozy. Again, an hour and a half before you actually go to bed. It's amazing how this sends a message that this is now your time. This is your calm time. And also it means then when you're ready to sleep, you can just go and slide between the covers and you don't have to worry about any of that rigmarole of getting ready for bed. Now, this might not resonate with you, but it's something that really made a difference for me. It felt like a little treat to me that when I go to bed now, I just go up to bed. I don't need to worry about anything else. So there are a few things that I would love you to consider trying out. I do think that if we can get at least a little bit of consistency in our morning and our evening routines, it can really help our sleep overnight and also how our day pans out as well. Now, I could talk to you for weeks on end about other self-care tips and other rituals that I tend to follow daily, but that's something for another day. But I'm hoping that just by throwing a few things out here today, you will be able to catch one of those things and try running with it. So I'm going to close shortly, and I wanted to basically say to you that I'm on a journey. As I said at the beginning, I'm on a journey. I'm going to learn as I go. I think that the reason that I held off recording this first episode was because I was aiming for perfection. I was wanting to make sure I didn't get anything wrong and that I made it the most valuable episode ever and did all the things absolutely perfectly. Well, do you know what? I then gave myself grace, and I have given myself the grace and trusted in myself that I'm just going to take it as it comes, and I'm going to bring to you the best that I can at this time. And I'd love to think that we can look back in 6 months' time and see the difference, how I have grown and developed this podcast and the way that I speak and the things I share with you and the inspiration and support that I bring to you. Let's hope that I can see a difference actually, because then that will mean I'm learning and I'm growing myself. I thank you so much for listening. I am absolutely so excited for where we're going to go with this podcast. And I just love the opportunity that you're going to allow me to be open and honest and authentic and vulnerable. Just little old me doing my thing from here in my little office. And I am so looking forward to hearing if anything has resonated with you. So I'd like to end just by sharing the How Does She Do It motto. And that is support, encourage, inspire. And those words are, if you sliced me into, those words are ingrained within me. I fully believe that we need to support one another. We've always got to carry on encouraging one another. And just by being who we are all inspiring one another as well. I don't think any of you out there realize quite how wonderful you are and how inspiring you are, and how things that you do and talk about will motivate and inspire others to do that thing that they have dreamt of doing as well. So never stop being you. Keep sharing all you're doing. And I really can't wait to welcome you back to episode 2. And thank you so much for listening. So all that remains is for me to wish you a wonderful day ahead. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I'd love you to take a moment to share and subscribe too. Come and join me over at How Does She Do It Life on both Facebook and Instagram. And until we speak again, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.